Hello, Gene Schwimmer here, and welcome to me. Before I get into today's subject, I have to do a little house cleaning regarding last week's subject. That was about Roy Moore. I had said at that time that, as I say in a lot of my videos, that I try to come up with ideas and broach subjects that other people haven't thought of. And what I had said last time, I said because you have Republicans in Alabama faced with a dilemma that you have a very flawed candidate who might not, but also do you want to let the Democrat get elected, or do you want to elect somebody who may have been involved in all these sexual improprieties? And my suggestion was, if he were to be elected, Roy Moore, that the Senate Ethics Committee should immediately start holding hearings, and if the charges turn out to be true, they should vote to expel him from the Senate. Now, I was delayed in putting out the actual video, so in the video I said that I was thinking of something that no one had thought of before. By the time I was able to edit the video and put it out, one or two senators had already come out with that idea, and then you had some pundits, commentators came out with that same idea. I just wanted to get it out there that I had the idea first. So that's why it's important for you to watch these videos, because, well, and important for me to get them out there quickly before somebody else thinks of what I thought of. Anyways, it was my idea. I'm just tooting my own horn here. I want to give myself credit for being so brilliant. So there you go, I'm a brilliant guy. And that brings me to this week's subject, where I will also suggest something that no one has suggested before, something I think should be done. Now we're going to the sunny Middle East and Lebanon. I'm sure you've all heard about by now, read, seen on TV, Saad Hariri, well, I guess I should say former Prime Minister of Lebanon now, because he resigned. He resigned because, well, he talked about a possible threat on his life, but also he was tired of being, well, I want to give credit to, for coming up with the term. This is something that I thought of, but she was the first to write about it. Caroline Glick, she's a commentator that I read quite often. I find her very astute, very interesting. And she said what I was thinking, that, well, I mean, what everybody pretty much knows, that Hariri was really just a figurehead, or as she put it, a fig leaf, to create the illusion that Lebanon had an actual government, a democracy, where the legislature and the elected officials were actually governing and actually had power, which of course is absolute nonsense. Hezbollah controls Lebanon. They have a giant paramilitary, I guess you'd have to call them a military force by now. They've integrated themselves into the Lebanese armed forces. As everybody knows, Hezbollah really controls Lebanon because of this vast military force that they have. Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, he is the actual ruler of Lebanon. He operates pretty much, which is I guess not unusual, because is paid by, he's a proxy for the Iranians, and the Iranians actually have that same kind of arrangement. In Iran, you would think that the mullahs, the ayatollahs, run everything, and they really don't. Iran has a functioning legislature, and they have a president, and they have a court system. The way that their system works is that the mullahs just sit aside and they let these other officials and legislatures and bodies run the government and rule, and then the mullahs will only step in to stop them from doing something of which they, the ayatollahs, disapprove. And the legislature, because the people who are able to run for the legislature and the presidency and obviously the courts are all vetted and approved by the ayatollahs. So basically it looks like they have a functioning government, and they'll say that the legislature, the majlis, which is what it's called, voted for this, that, or the other thing, but they have very clear guidelines. They have a very clear sense of what the Ayatollahs will allow. Now, that is the same thing in Lebanon, that you have this illusion of a government, but for instance, you have Hezbollah, they have members in the government, they're about 1/3 of the government, but even though they're only 1/3, if the other 2/3 voted to, say, sign a peace treaty with Israel or disarm Hezbollah, if they were to hold and win such a vote, Hezbollah would not allow that to happen. They would not disarm, they would not allow a peace treaty with Israel. So everybody knows that they really rule. That is why Hariri resigned. He said, I'm just a figurehead, I'm worse than a figurehead, I'm a fig leaf for Hezbollah to hide behind and to pretend that they're participating as one part of a government when that is not the case at all. So here is my original thought. Now, what he has done, he did the right thing to resign. What I think is that the rest of the Lebanese government, those who are not members of Hezbollah, they should resign too. They should all stand up and they should just all resign en masse, all at once, and say, we are not going to be a part of this farce anymore. We acknowledge Hassan Nasrallah is the leader, he's the dictator, the president for life of Lebanon. We are just throwing in the towel, stepping aside, let Nasrallah run the government, let Hezbollah run the government, make sure the sewers work and run the whole infrastructure. They're in charge, and just step down. If anybody from the international community wants to speak to the Lebanese government, to any of these officials, say, we're not in charge. Talk to Nasrallah. If they do that, number one, that dispels the illusion. It just acknowledges what the reality is. That's the first thing it does. Number two, it makes it very hard for the international community to give foreign aid to Lebanon anymore. There's no more illusion that they're supporting. If we, the United States, donate weapons or sell weapons to the Lebanese armed forces, it's really Hezbollah. So we cannot hide behind that fig leaf anymore. Neither can anybody else. And most of all, Nasrallah cannot hide behind that fig leaf anymore. He cannot pretend there is a democracy in Lebanon. It would be very interesting. I can't even predict, but I could speculate, but it would be interesting. I don't want to make this video too long, but it would be very interesting to speculate, and most of all to see what Nasrallah would do if the entire Lebanese government outside of Hezbollah just resigns and just leaves him there in charge. He's either going to be an actual dictator, or he's going to have to get the Lebanese who resign to participate in the government, and then they'll be able to make demands and require conditions for them to, well, it just opens up a really delightful can of worms that I would like to see open up, and the biggest worms I think would be Hezbollah, and I would love to see them squirming, see how those little worms squirm. So there you go, that's it for today. I'll be back as soon as I can up here in my beautiful apartment in Harlem. Beautiful, sunny. Well, it's not, okay, that was a joke about being beautiful, actually a joke about being sunny too, but it's not too bad up here. It's nice, the people are nice. And as usual, I'm rambling, trying to figure out how to wind up this video, so I'll just wind it up the way I always do once I get done rambling, which is to say, see you next time. Do the little thumbs up thing underneath the screen, and tell your friends and share these videos. And until next time, bye.
You got plan, darling?
I always got plan. They don't ever work, but I always got one.